Hey guys, what's up? My name is Dom and welcome back to another Grand Theft Auto 5 video here on this channel. Now in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys 5 underrated cars that are available in GTA Online. Now, these are cars that we hardly ever see being used in online, and they're most probably forgotten about due to the huge amount of new vehicles added to the game in recent DLCs and updates. And because of this, there are certainly a lot more cars with each update that deserve a lot more recognition than they are getting. So without any further hesitation, let's get straight into the first car. So we're going to be starting this video off with the Omnis. Now this vehicle was first released back in July of 2016 in the Cunning Stunts update, making it over 1 year old. Since then we've had the Bikers, Import and Export, Gun Running and Smugglers Run updates. So it's safe to say that we've had so many new vehicles come to the game that this one has just been forgotten about. And to be fair, even I forgot that this one existed until I started to think of the underrated cars for this video. Not only is this vehicle very cheap at only $701,000, it also has one of the nicest sounding engines in the game. Let's listen to it right now. Now that has got to be one of my favourite sounding cars in the game. Now although there isn't much physical customization available for this vehicle apart from a new spoiler and changing the paint job, with all the upgraded engine tunings, this thing is a beast. Now I'm not a huge fan of the livery that you get on the vehicle when you first buy it, but setting it to be just ice white makes this thing look awesome. The car is based off the Audi Quattro, which is a classic rally car. So as you can imagine, rallying in this thing in the race modes is amazing, and fully customized it's quite hard to beat. Definitely underrated for the price of only $701,000, and with all the upgrades you'd be looking at a maximum of $800,000. And of course what I love most about it is the sound of its engine. Anyway, so moving on to our next vehicle, which was featured in the Import and Export update, and is something that I surprisingly don't see a lot of anymore, is of course the Tempesta. Now this vehicle obviously takes its looks from the Lamborghini Huracan, and if I do say so myself, is one of the nicest looking vehicles in the game. It's one of the very few supercars in the game that I would love to see a lot more of in online, but unfortunately not a lot of people seem to be using it anymore. With 90% acceleration and 84% speed, and handling that is a second to none without any upgrades, it surprises me that not a lot of people in the community use it anymore. Now although the car looks amazing just as a base, it actually has some pretty awesome customizations. For example, the skirts, spoilers and hoods all have some really cool choices. This car also looks great in pretty much every colour, but for me I love the look of it in ice white. So one of the reasons that we probably don't see a lot of this car anymore is the price tag. At $1,329,000 from the Legendary Motorsport website, it's easy to see why people wouldn't want to spend that much on it when they can have a similar looking car like the Vaca for only $240,000. But I definitely think that it's worth the money, and it is 100% underrated in GTA Online. So moving away from the supercars, we have an SUV, the Dubsta 6x6. This unique vehicle is one of my favourite SUVs, and that is because of its awesome 6 wheels. The Dubsta was first released in the I'm Not a Hipster update, and although it doesn't boast the best specs, especially not handling, it does have one thing going for it: its looks. The Dubsta only costs $249,000, making it one of the cheaper vehicles on this list, and for what you get, it's an amazing price. This vehicle is a lot of fun to drive. Its size means it can barge other cars out of the way easily, and it's a pretty decent off-roading vehicle as well. It's based off the Mercedes-Benz G63, so it's definitely one of the cooler cars that you can own in-game, but we hardly see anyone using this vehicle. Obviously there are better cars in the game that do everything it does, just better, but I think this car looks awesome. The customization of the car is another thing. You can change the hood, add bull bars and winches, and back guards, and have bars on the roof. It definitely has a lot more options than most of the vehicles in the game, which I'm happy they did, as it just makes it look that much cooler. As for the engine upgrades, it does have a huge change. Because this vehicle is so big, applying the upgrades makes a noticeable difference to the performance of the vehicle. I went with the classic Land Rover colours for this one, as the front reminds me a lot of the Land Rover Defender, so I feel like these colours suited the Dubsta perfectly. So there we go, it's not the fastest thing in the game, but it definitely has a look like no other car in the game. Something that is underrated a lot. Moving on to the fourth vehicle in our list of 5 underrated vehicles in GTA Online, we have the Elegy RH8. Now I'm sure you all have had this vehicle at one point in the game because it's free. So I'm sure you all agree with me that this car is underrated. The Elegy RH8 is classed as a sports car in-game, and takes some of its design features from the Nissan GT-R R35 and the Infiniti G37 Coupe. Now the Nissan GT-R is one of my favourite cars in real life, so as you can imagine, when I found out that this car was free, I was pretty excited, and it did not disappoint. Even though it's free, it does boast some pretty impressive specs, with 81% speed and 82% acceleration without upgrades, which holds it up there with some other, pretty expensive may I add, sports cars. Not only that, but I think this car looks pretty cool as well. So if you were just starting off the game and needed a car to get around, the Elegy is awesome, and not just because it's free. Driving this car is an absolute joy. It feels amazing and sticks to the road like nothing else. And getting to drive a car that is similar to the Nissan GT-R in Grand Theft Auto is a lot of fun, especially for me. This is one of the reasons why I think this car is very underrated. The customization on this vehicle is pretty impressive as well, with options for different front and back bumpers, different exhausts, different hoods and roofs, different grills, and a choice of skirts and spoilers. You can really make this car stand out in a crowd, and with a flashy enough colour it looks awesome. Obviously, knowing me, I went with ice white for this vehicle, as it makes it truly stand out, and I am really impressed with this vehicle and surprised that although it's free, not many people use it. So for the final car, we have something a little different. A vehicle that also came out in the Cunning Stunks update, the Brioso RA. Now this vehicle, for what it is surprisingly fast, and really good at tackling corners if you can control its sometimes awkward handling. It has heavy oversteer, but once you get used to handling that, this car can be very rewarding. The Brioso is based off the Fiat 500, and also takes a few designs from the Suzuki Swift and the 3rd generation Nissan Micra. So you can tell that this vehicle has a lot of small car designs put into it, something that I think is pretty awesome. It was also a nice refreshing change to get a pretty impressive car that has the looks of vehicles we're all familiar with in our day-to-day lives. Although I wouldn't say it's the most attractive car in the game, it does boast something that not a lot of vehicles have in the game, that being individuality. When you first purchase it, it comes with the livery, which I think ruins the look of the car. Once removed though, and it has a nicer colour, this car actually looks pretty interesting. You can change the bumpers, hood, roof and spoiler, which gives the car a look that not a lot of other vehicles in the game can compare to. With all of the engine and brake upgrades, this vehicle will give any other compacts a run for their money in performance. And for this reason, it is definitely an underrated vehicle that people have forgotten about, especially when it is only $155,000, which is an extremely low price for what you receive with the Brioso. So there we go then guys. Those are 5 underrated vehicles in GTA Online that are hardly used at all anymore. We had the Omnis, the Tempesta, the Dubsta 6x6, the Elegy and the Brioso RA. All vehicles that are awesome in their own ways and not many people remember how good they actually are. Let me know what vehicles you think are underrated in the comments, and if you could drop a like in this video it would be greatly appreciated. And if you haven't already subscribed to Chaotic, please do, as we upload all the latest and the greatest Grand Theft Auto 5 content. So as always guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.